Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is week 5 of Smartphone Theater. I'm thrilled you guys are here, and we have a great reading tonight. We have Written in Ink, which is written by Jim Geoghan, and it stars Sofia Vassilieva, who is playing Maria. We have Curtis Belz, who is Steve. This is co-directed tonight by Peter Flood and Jonathan Levit, and I'm going to let them take it away.
Hello all. Written in ink, a Hollywood Boulevard tattoo parlor. Maria sits backwards on the chair, her arms resting comfortably on the chair's backrest. Her shirt is open in the back, allowing tattoo artist Steve enough room to tattoo what Maria wants between her two shoulder blades. The tattoo gun buzzes as he works.
How you feeling? You want to take a break?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
How's it coming?
Slow but sure.
Cool.
Want to do it right.
Exactly.
Takes time.
Oh, I'm in no hurry.
Neither am I.
Cool.
Cool.
You're very good at this.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
But you haven't even seen it yet.
I can tell. You know what you're doing.
Thank you.
Feels smooth and easy.
Uh-huh.
I can barely feel this one.
You have other tattoos?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, well, when I'm done, whenever that is, my body, it's going to be a whole thing, you know? A statement, an artistic document of me and who I am. My body, top to bottom, will be covered in custom works of tattoo art.
Gotcha.
And even if you have never met me, never even heard of me, never even so much as talked to me, got no idea who the hell I am, all you have to do is look at all of the tattoos on my body, and then you will know everything that there is to know about me in 10 seconds.
Saves time.
That's what I'm thinking.
Saves a lot of talk.
I hate talking to new people.
Me too.
They don't know shit.
None of them do.
And then after I get this done, I will be able to meet someone and go, hey, you want to know me? Here. I will lift up my top and drop my jeans within reason. I don't want strangers getting all hot and bothered, getting the wrong freaking idea.
Sure.
But I would show them enough of my skin art for them to get my message.
Right.
And then that person would know me completely. They'd go, okay, I got it. I totally understand who the hell you are. Totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
On your way to this body masterpiece.
Yeah.
How many tattoos you got already?
Not including this one?
Yeah.
2.
Okay.
I'm starting out slow.
Right.
You don't rush something that is both a statement and a major work of art.
Never.
I'm in the early stages of this masterpiece.
Takes time.
Yeah, exactly.
What you got so far?
Left ankle, Elmer Fudd with shotgun. Not a scary looking shotgun, a cute shotgun. A cartoon shotgun because Elmer Fudd is a cartoon guy.
Okay.
And then on my right ankle, I have got Bugs Bunny eating a carrot, looking like he could give a crap that Elmer Fudd is on the other ankle with a shotgun.
And the two make a statement.
A very small part of what is going to be someday an enormous statement.
Which is?
If some asshole is chasing you with a shotgun, don't be afraid, especially if you're as fast and clever as Bugs Bunny.
Words to live by.
But I say it.
Yeah?
Big pictures.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And this one back here?
The one you're doing now?
Yeah, it ties in.
Well, it's all going to tie in when it's finished. I mean, you can't take any 2 or 3 pieces of what is going to be a masterpiece and make any sort of judgment.
I wasn't making a judgment.
Sounded like it.
No, I was just asking.
Okay.
I mean, I'm taking part in a masterpiece. I was just curious.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I just take things the wrong way.
Me too. Sometimes. This guy, Lucas, he's part of your artistic masterpiece?
Yeah.
He from long ago?
Nope.
Lucas is recent.
Yeah.
How recent?
If it's okay with you, I'd rather not discuss Lucas at this point.
Sure.
Thank you.
I didn't mean nothing by it.
Okay.
In any case, it's coming out pretty fantastic.
I can feel it.
Letters 2 inches high in the 3-color shaded Rothenberg font.
Mm-hmm.
Classy font.
Thank you.
I don't get asked for that font much at all.
Really?
Almost never, which is a shame because I do a hell of a job with the 3-color shaded Rothenberg font.
Cool.
The last person who asked for this font, big celebrity, very famous.
Really? Who?
I'm sorry, but my oath of privacy prevents me from revealing the client's name.
I see.
United Skin Artists Local 54, they're very strict. There's papers, contracts, rules. You swear to a lot of stuff. Then your union brothers get you higher than shit, tattoo something disgusting on the bottom of your foot, and leave you naked on Cahuenga Boulevard.
Okay.
All I can say is,
Yeah.
it was a woman, famous celebrity, reality star, very attractive, and she wanted a tattoo in the 3-color shaded Rothenberg font that said, "Not for sale."
Wow. Where did you want it?
Again, my oath forbids me. But where would you guess she wanted it?
Her.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been.
Wasn't as much fun as you think.
God, these reality stars.
I know.
How's it coming?
You want to peek with the mirror?
No. I'd rather wait to the end. Get the whole thing at once.
Best way to do it.
But it is coming along.
Yeah,
Close to being done?
sort of. One thing you can't rush is the 3-color shaded Rothenberg font.
I can hardly feel it.
Thanks.
Where'd you learn to do this?
Prison?
Prison.
Yeah. The place with the high walls, guys with guns on top.
I know what prison looks like. How long were you in for?
22 months. And I was a model prisoner.
Jeez. What'd you do?
Nothing really. Stuff the cops trumped off for me, minor crap.
Minor crap like what?
Jaywalking, panhandling.
Come on.
I know, littering, vagrancy.
Vagrancy?
Yeah, having a job, no place, no job or place to live.
That's half of Hollywood.
I know. What else? Not much, actually. Just jaywalking, littering, and kidnapping.
You kidnapped someone?
No, but it turns out if your girlfriend says, "I want to leave," and then if you don't sort of let her leave for 9 or 10 hours,
Uh-huh.
technically that's kidnapping.
So why didn't you let her go when she asked you?
We were having trouble, you know? She was going to dump me. I could smell it. So I rented a cabin outside of Los Angeles. Really nice. What they call scenic.
I like scenic.
Me too. It was very scenic. I thought it would do the trick, you know? Fresh air, swimming in the lake, big fire in the fireplace.
Sounds nice.
I thought so. But when we got there and she walked into the cabin and,
Well, what'd she say?
"This place sucks. I want to go home."
Why would she say that?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is she was raised in Beverly Hills. I begged her to stay. Give it a try. Give us a try. No dice. She wanted me to drive her back. So I said I wouldn't. We argued. She got mad. I locked the door. She almost opened it, so I nailed it shut. She saw someone out the window, yelled, "Help!" and I got arrested. I knew she'd stick with the kidnapping thing if I went to trial, so I pled out. I was sentenced to 4 to 6 years. Out in less than 2.
All because you were trying to save your relationship.
It was my own fault. Some guys like me
Just what?
Just love too much.
But out in less than 2.
While I was in, I figured I should learn a trade, so I learned tattooing.
Oh, they taught that.
No, the only thing they taught was how to retread tires, but they shut that class down.
How come?
Someone stole a tire. Tattooing, I taught myself.
How'd you do that?
Well, my whole life I like to draw, make signs, fancy lettering, fonts. Don't ask me why, but I got a thing for fonts.
Me too.
One night, my cellmate and I were having a disagreement.
Over what?
He wanted sex and I didn't.
Oh.
Well, it's not like I'm anti-gay or anything. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but I think every act of sex should have the consent of both people.
So what'd you do?
I said, listen, Blade.
That's your cellmate's name.
Yeah, I tell him, Blade, I know you got your girlfriend's picture drawn on your forehead.
Why his forehead?
So he can see it when he shaves.
Oh.
I told him, and I know it comes off and you got to redraw it all the time.
Uh-huh.
If I can make it permanent, would you forget about the ass jockey stuff?
And he said yes.
We made a deal. I would make his tattoo permanent and agreed to give him any other skin work he wanted. In exchange, he'd seek romance elsewhere.
Sounds like a good deal.
Not only that, if anyone else tried to have happy times with my body,
Yeah?
I got Blade to promise he'd beat them half to death.
Did he?
Hard to tell. Blade was very private about why he hurt people. Maybe it was to defend me. Maybe they just looked at Blade the wrong way. I'm just glad he took the deal. But I kept busy. I built a rep, did tattoos on the other guys in exchange for cigarettes, booze, pot, whatever. Now I'm on Hollywood Boulevard doing the 3-color shaded Rothenberg font for, geez, I don't even know your name.
Maria.
Pretty name.
It's a tree that weeps.
No. I'm Steve.
Nice to meet you, Steve.
I'd ask you to step out for a beer after I'm done, but I think Lucas here might come between us.
No way. No way. Lucas's chance has come and gone.
Boyfriend?
Ex-boyfriend. Emphasis on the ex.
Broke up?
Not just broke. More like shattered. What'd you say before? What's how you felt about your girlfriend?
That I love too much.
Yeah. Well, Lucas didn't love enough. He was too busy loving himself. Never date a rocker.
How come?
They're psychotic. Stay away from anyone who has anything to do with any live performance of any kind of music, especially my 2 favorite forms of music, rock and roll.
You work in LA?
Yeah. All over. Especially here on Hollywood Boulevard, at all the places they call restaurants but are really bars where losers who couldn't find a woman get drunk and have fistfights.
Maybe I saw Lucas. What band?
He has been in so many. He's in a new band every 2 or 3 months. Someone is always getting arrested or dying of an overdose.
Uh-huh.
Habitual sex addicts, Nazi picnic, truck stop killers, cocaine cookies, despair. Well, that didn't work, so then they changed it to total despair. Dead Santa, Toxic Legos, Einstein's Mistress, Homicide Tango, Dead Osmonds, Chrome Diarrhea, Relapsed Whores, Frozen Thunder, Lesbian Love Slave, Savage Disaster, Flaming Enema, Drunken Monkeys, Velvet Chainsaw, Love Bullets, Repeat Offenders, Hitler's Nanny, and Lawrence Welk's In Hell.
I never heard of any of those.
You are not the only one.
Did you get tired of all them names and break up with them?
That and a hell of a lot worse.
How so?
Someone broke into his car, stole his Fender. Way average guitar. Like you can buy it anywhere on eBay for $200, maybe less. And he says to me, I got a gig tonight. Let me use your Les Paul.
You want a Les Paul?
It was my father's. But I don't play. But look, it is all that I've got to remember him by. His Gibson Les Paul. Perfect condition, cherry sunburst.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, it is. Gibson Les Pauls on eBay start at
Bet.
So where was it? 10, 12 blocks from here, that way. Yeah, Lucas does a gig at a loser bar where the losers celebrate their loser lives with loser drinks. I didn't think that his set went very well, but Lucas did. Lucas thought he was Black Sabbath at the Hollywood Bowl. Last song, and Lucas does a 10-minute solo that was so long the bass player went to the bathroom, came back, and Lucas was still playing. Meanwhile, the entire bar is looking at the Giants play the Vikings on the big screen TV. Like, earth to Lucas. Salvage what little you can, end the song, and get off the stage. If you want to call 2 sheets of plywood mounted on boxes a stage.
He finally finished?
Yeah. He murdered Stairway to Heaven as best as he could. And then he wanted a big finish, so he grabbed the guitar by the neck and...
No.
Yeah.
Say he didn't.
Sorry, he did. He smashed it over an amp.
Your father's guitar.
Yep.
Les Paul, did you ask him why he did such a thing?
I was going to, but when I found him in his van, he was very busy.
Doing what?
Having sex with 2 girls.
You sure?
Yeah. He opened the door and said, a minute later, I'm having sex with 2 girls.
What did you say?
I said, wrong, Lucas. You were having sex with 1 girl and then the other one is watching.
Really?
The best I could do at that moment.
No, that was pretty good.
I'm done with rockers. Or anyone who even hums in the shower. Lucas, he ruins my prized possession, the only thing that my father left me, shrugs it off, and then goes into his van to, you know.
It's terrible. No one deserves to be treated like that.
Thank you.
I just met you, but from what I can see, you're a very nice person.
You think so?
Of course. Smart, clever, drop dead gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Really?
Oh yeah. Focused, funny as hell.
Hey, you were just saying that because you just got out of prison.
No. I've been out for a couple years. You're really beautiful.
Thanks.
And this masterpiece in progress, I'm just proud to know you and be a small part of it.
That was such a nice thing to say.
Well, it's the way I feel.
Thank you.
But why dump him and put his name on your back?
Well, Lucas printed across my back is what you might call the cornerstone of my body masterpiece. This tattoo of his name is a rejection of the man, his very being, his existence, his music, everything he has been or will be. What you're doing is just the start. When I get the money together, each letter of his name will have tears. Red tears of blood that tell the world what his pathetic name stands for.
Wow.
Red, dripping tears hanging from each and every letter. The L will eventually spell loser. The U will spell ugly. K for cretin.
What was that?
K for cretin. And then A for asshole and S for slime.
Wow.
Yeah, cool, huh?
Yeah, way cool.
Thanks.
L for loser. U for ugly.
K for cretin.
Okay.
And then A for asshole as...
Yeah, I got the rest.
Problem?
No. None at all.
No. I mean, it is there to let him know that he could join a million bands and that he will still wind up a nobody.
Yeah. Fantastic idea, and it's the beginning of your masterpiece.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what would be a fantastic idea?
What?
I mean, just a thought. It's your masterpiece and all, but what if?
Yeah.
What if?
I'm listening.
What if you spelled his name wrong?
You mean with a C and not a K?
Yeah.
Why?
To show him and the world that his name isn't even worth spelling right.
What would I say if Lucas saw it?
You'd say, Lucas, not everyone knows your name. Now everyone knows your name isn't even worth spelling right.
That would crush him.
I bet it would.
The whole world spells it with a C. On his birth certificate, it is a C. His mother showed me. Lucas. He changes the C to a K.
To be different.
And it didn't work.
Tried to make his mark on this world.
And he failed.
And that failure
Is on my back.
in the 3-color shaded Rothenberg font.
Kick-ass font.
Kick-ass.
Yes.
It's a strong statement.
Devastating.
Powerful.
I love it.
So do I.
Wait, have you done the K yet?
Oh, no. I can do the letter C instead of K. No problem.
Then go for it.
You got it.
Fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. Won't take long at all.
Can't wait to see it.
Oh, you're going to love it. Then we'll step out for a drink.
Okay. But I buy the first one. To thank you for your great idea.
No. I buy the first one and all the others after that.
How come?
So thank you
For what?
for letting me take part in your masterpiece.
Wow.
I mean that.
Gee. For a guy who just got out of prison.
Yeah.
You're awfully sweet.
Thank you.
Steve continues working. Lights fade. End of play.
I'm applauding for everybody. So I'm applauding for everybody who is, there we go. The applause are rolling in. Okay, great. I'm going to quick little tutorial on how this works so people can raise their hands. So all the attendees can raise your hand and I will call on you and hopefully we'll be able to hear you. Also, there's a chat in your Zoom. So you are free to chat away and I will read to everybody else. I'm putting this so everybody can see everybody. Let me also bring up a couple things before we give it to our fantastic cast and our co-directors. We have a tip jar on, we have a virtual tip jar on our website. So if you go to smartphonetheater.com, the tips go to our wonderful team that gave you today's show. And then next week, we actually have a double header. And it's our first time we're trying this format. We're doing 2 shorter pieces. One is by Dave Field, and the other one is by Will Manis. Wonderful cast. We have Stuart Zully and Kimberly Green and Lisa Richard and Steve Mandillo. So please come back next week. It's going to be fantastic. We do this every Friday at 5 o'clock. Okay, here to our panels. I'm just going to read everything. Again, this isn't a critique per se, so no critiques. Lots of comments. You could ask our cast and crew and directors anything you want. I'm going to read some of what we've got going on. We have a lot of bravos. We have a lot of hooray, hooray from Zully. Laura Black says, yay. Casey Kramer, Day Young, Bruce Nelson, Mitch Levine, a lot of bravos. Lisa Robbins, clap, clap, clap. Love to you guys from Yaz. Great job. Reeve says applause, applause. More bravos, more mazel tovs from Sarah Gerfield. What a talented bunch. Okay, yes, they are. Great job, everyone. Staying creative. Go, Jonathan, says Laura Black. This was awesome, says Donna Malamud. Great cast, says Stuart Zully. Bravo to all. Well played. Thank you all. Awesome work. Congrats, guys. Really love the play. Casey Kramer. Love this thought. Thanks for doing this and everyone involved. You bet, Yaz. We're going to get you here soon. Nice job, everybody, from Steve Hofendahl. Hey, Steve. Great job adapting this new media. It comes from John Lacey. Devin O'Brien, well done. And a little shout out to Devin O'Brien, who's a wonderful playwright and gave me a cookie recipe yesterday. Fantastic, wonderful chocolate chip peanut butter cookies. So just, Devin is terrific and a great baker. Tom Alper, fantastic piece, love the play. The acting was terrific, great chemistry. what was the co-directing process like? All right, there we go. Question, Peter and Jonathan.
It was easy, actually. Jonathan and I have, this is something we attempted to do in the unit last spring. So we had talked about the play already, and I was thinking about, I've always loved this piece. And so when we reinitiated it for Todd, it seemed like a good piece for smartphone theater. I wanted to do it with Jonathan, and it was easy. The coordination between the two directors is very easy. We have different language, but we have very complementary point of views.
Peter, could you just explain the unit? You said the unit. There's a lot of people that don't know what the unit is. Would you just
I'm muted?
Yeah, just to tell people what the unit is, because not everybody understands.
The Actor Studio Play Development Unit, which is there to develop the written work, basically. And we generally do full-length plays, but sometimes we combine shorter work in the same session. And this was Jim's piece was going to be combined with another short piece. But I'm glad and if we ever get back to some new normalcy, I'm going to bring it back with Sofia and Curtis, because I can't think of anybody I'd rather, I couldn't do it. I'd rather do it with. The guys were fantastic.
They were.
Jonathan, you want to add anything else?
We had, Peter, how many rehearsals did we have? Like,
we had an initial run through, read through, then we talked about it, and then we had 2 rehearsals that were in greater detail about the structure of the piece, the kind of pacing, how the stories, where it goes from Maria's story to Steve's story to Maria's story. It's a relation, you have to see the relationship formed. It can't be there in the beginning. It's just transactional in the beginning, but by the end, it's a little more than that. But I love this piece because it has humanist layers to it, and like in some of other Jim's writing, in particular, for a short piece, it's really an impressive structure, just artful. So I think the further we got into it, the richer it was, I think, for everybody.
Great.
Yeah, it was. And but just so you know, I directed a reading of this at the Greenway Court a few years ago. So, and it was with completely different actors. So this is wonderful to see, these guys are pros, and also they have a lot of great depth. And what's nice is we really mine that as we went along. And what I love about working with Peter is he's right. We are very complementary, but different ways of looking at things. And it's great. Since I come from TV comedy, and he comes from features literary a little bit more. And so that combined made it a really nice process.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jonathan. Go ahead, Peter.
We have comedy in common.
Yes.
Comedy, in the case of Jim Geoghan, comedy is the avenue to other emotion, to deeper emotion.
And what's nice too, Peter, we both have directed Jim's readings. So, and we both have done really interesting jobs with stuff. So it's nice to see 2 different perspectives on it and to get a really nice result. That's, and these actors, though, are the main thing.
Thanks, Jonathan. We have 26 messages, but I'm going to go to Stu Berg, who is directing both pieces next week, by the way. So, Stu, go for it. Stu, can you hear us? Stu?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go for it. There you go.
I was rehearsing with the sound off. No, I just want to compliment everybody. I think it was, first of all, I think Peter, or it doesn't matter, both guys did a great job, and the cast did as well. But a couple of things that I really found interesting and I think are very helpful in this situation. And one is that our actors were fortunate enough to have backgrounds behind them that were similar enough so that you didn't get the jar and feel of people in different places. And really, the fact that the backgrounds were the white wall or cream-colored wall behind both of them gave the impression that they were in the same place. And it isn't easy to bring that off sometimes. I think also the thing that I really found interesting was how subtle the relationship changed. I mean, at the very first, Curtis was very professional, and Sofia was, oh, well, I'm here to get this thing done. And yet there was a build that took place, and I think they were very successful at it. I hope they have as good a luck next week as Peter and Jonathan did. But anyway, we'll give it a shot. Good job, folks.
Thank you, Stu. Yeah, so just so everybody knows, yeah, today was not an accident. These guys worked really hard. So from the white wall in the background to, they worked hard. They put in a lot of rehearsals and did a lot of time, put in a lot of time. So
yeah, I will say that it was great working with Jonathan because he works in television, really has a good technical, he found the tattoo image that we opened with, he found the music. We collaborated in terms of the look of the piece with both Sofia and Curtis. So everybody was on, and Todd. So we were, the interaction technically with throughout the week of everybody involved in the reading was really constructive. So if everybody who's listening out there was thinking about participating themselves, I encourage you to do so. Yeah, the Zoom platform has its limitations, but that's no excuse. We should, there's a lot you can do with it and run with it. You just have to play within the limitations as best you're able to.
Great, thanks, Peter. I'm going to Laura Black. So Laura, can you hear us? Laura. Hello, Laura. Laura?
Hello?
Hi. I feel like a radio disc jockey. You're on the air.
Yeah, hi, Laura.
Oh, Laura, you're on. We can hear you. Hello, Laura. Laura?
Me?
Yes, you're on.
I don't hear you at all, but my questions were, why did you decide to co-direct versus single director, and what were the actors' processes during this process?
Sofia and Curtis, you guys want to respond?
I mean,
Why can't I hear you guys? Man, this is a bummer.
Oh no. Can you hear us?
So the question was, why the decision of co-directing, and what was the process like for the actors?
We addressed that earlier, but we co-directed because we had worked on the piece originally together. I'm a moderator in the play development unit, so I don't want, to direct something within the unit and moderate in the unit is a lot. It doubles up the work, and so I've worked with Todd as a director. I've worked with Jonathan as a director, and would work with them again because there's, I think the studio as it tends to be evolving right now, especially not only with what Todd's doing here, but with this 10-minute, what the studio is doing generally during this hiatus period where everybody's at home. Has brought both the West Coast and the East Coast together. There's a lot of synchronicity going on. Both Sofia and Curtis are in readings that will be this Saturday in separate readings. They're in separate pieces. I haven't read Sofia's yet, but I've read Curtis's. It's interesting, by Kieran Angelini, who's one of our writers. And there's New York writers, there's West Coast writers, there's West Coast directors. Todd's going to be in week 3. And if we keep going, I'm going to bring Jonathan in, and it's the interaction with each other where we really understand not only the issue of what direction is, but what's the potential in the play itself. It's just much deeper engagement with each other as co-creators. So I think it's good. It's not an ego thing. Directing is not a top-down thing anyway. Directing is a bottom-up thing.
Yeah, that's what I appreciated about your process.
Yeah. Well, it's the beauty, Mitch could, if Mitch is on, he can address this, but when we talk about directing, sometimes, occasionally in the director's unit, there was a Mike Nichols quote where they're very, you can find directing in a lot of ways, but the one that I find the most trenchant is apprehending what is not named. In other words, good writing reveals itself gradually. It's not a conceptual imposition. The language tells you what the play is, and a way how to do it, the conceptualization of it, that brings in other artists like the set designer and other people in the process is an evolution. It's evolutionary, but it begins with the language, what is hidden within those dialogues. And this is a really good example of how, like what Stuart Stuberg was saying, how the play reveals itself on its own terms. And that's what I mean, how I understand apprehending what's not named. Some things are obvious, some things are not obvious. And you have to stay with the language long enough to let it tell you what is not so obvious. What it does say in those moments is much deeper and more important than the obvious. The obvious is obvious from the start. So anyway, Jonathan and I just the collaboration together was easy on that point. We both had similar approaches.
Absolutely. I was wondering, Sofia and Curtis, I'd love to hear about your process a little bit for them to hear too.
Sofia?
Curtis?
Okay. I guess it's a little bit different. The process is a little bit different when you're doing a reading, especially when you're doing a reading and the actors, it's all, no one's in the same place. You're in your own little isolated area. So it's very different. The first thing is you want to make sure, and you're guided by the directors, that everything is heard and makes sense. Like you're able to track the logic of the story and of the characters. And then a lot of it, because we're not in the same area, it became very technical. I had stuff that I had to pretend I was doing a tattoo. So I had focus here. And at the same time, I'm seeing Sofia over here in this corner. But when she turns and looks around, I had to kind of check in over this corner over here, because that's what logically would make sense for the camera angle. So right. I had to check in there too and pretend I'm looking at Sofia over there, although all I'm seeing is, stuff on my desktop, and coming back here and checking in here and then reading, and with the mouse, you're reading up the script, because we weren't memorized. We're just reading it straight off the screen. So it was like, that was the fun little challenge for me. And as far as like just playing off Sofia, I always enjoy, me and Sofia have worked a lot together. So we've built a cool artistic relationship just in the work, and it's really easy to play off of her, and I hope it's easy for her to play off me as well, because we just there's a trust that's just instilled in the two of us, and I trust Sofia. So as far as that goes, the main thing was tracking the logic of the play and all the technical little making sure you made sense where you were looking, and still being able to read your lines, and still being able to pretend you're doing this buzzer thing and turning off the buzzer, and then making sure you can see when she's going like this, because it wouldn't make sense for me to be going like this anymore. So like just kind of balancing all that, and that in a cool, unique way kept me present in the moment with her. Anytime where I caught myself not paying attention, I was like, oh shit, I'm not paying attention. I missed that. She just went like that, and I'm still going away at her back with the tattoo. So that was the fun moment to moment that I found in this unique process for me.
For me, the job was a little easier in that I literally just have to look over my shoulder to make believe Curtis, and then I can gaze at his face while I have most of my lines delivered, gazing off into the distance while this person tattoos my back. There were parts of the process that were technical, as Curtis mentioned, figuring out which backgrounds worked, figuring out what's behind, how do we make it, what space in our space can we clear out or make look a certain way, how do we light it if we light it. and details like that. But what was really fascinating was that as soon as we got through those sort of technicalities and logistic details, the play that we do in the theater, oftentimes even more than we do on a set, still existed in this space. So the discoveries that happen every time that you run it with another person still happened. They'd obviously be different in a different setting, but there was not there wasn't a loss of them, which I have found surprising in this experience. And Peter and Jonathan are both, as you guys have said, really complimentary to one another, but they're also very complimentary to the actor, and not just in being complimentary, but in allowing the actor to find their way and letting the rehearsal run and letting moments that might be different in different rehearsals go, just so we can figure out what else is there. And so the artistry that exists between actors and directors still exists in this space, even though we are so far apart.
Excellent. Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you, Todd, for literally figuring all this out and doing it all and making this possible.
This is what it's all about. So I'm really glad. Chuck Workman had his hand up and then he went away, so he may have had to run away for dinner reservation. So apologies to Chuck. We actually have 43 messages, so I'm just going to run through these. Gina said, Gina Costa, awesome, thanks guys. Doug Steinberg says, Geoghan is brilliant. So Doug, wonderful writer. Hello, Doug and Sarah.
Hi, Doug.
Divino Bazuta says, I definitely want to see more. Let's see. Devin says, love the sound effects. Dae Young says, can you talk about the process? How many commercials? I think that question was already answered, Dae. I don't know about how many commercials. Let's see. Let's see here. Lisa Richards says, really terrific. Sophia and Curtis, wonderful. I love the way Sophia looked as if it was right behind her. So fantastic. How many rehearsals? What was it, 4?
4, yeah, 1 initial read and then 3 others.
Got it. Jim Geoghan is in the audience. Oh, here's Chuck. Chuck is back. So let me, Chuck Workman. Chuck, you're up.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. It's really nice to see this, and thank you, Todd, for doing this.
Absolutely.
And everybody else, obviously. My question was a very simple one. How did you feel about not hearing laughs? And how did Jim feel about it also? But what about the actors? Like when we watch the late shows in this kind of system in Zoom, they're not getting any laughs and they kind of work for it, or they don't, or they ignore it. And I was wondering how that worked for the process, or was it just like a rehearsal where there wouldn't be anybody laughing anyway?
I don't know, I just felt like, with the joke, what I found different than what I've been working with lately is there's not a lot of yuck jokes in this. So the laughs came out of natural things, and I don't know if they really needed to hear them. What's nice is those two were laughing at the moments, getting kicks out of each other. So that's what I felt like the laughs were.
Yeah, I didn't have, both Jonathan and I laughed, within the rehearsal process.
That's right. To give them ideas.
When the reality connected. When the reality connects, then it's the humor. It's not a, this is a character-driven humanist comedy. It's in the general category of I blanked on the name, but therefore, yeah, there are joke structures in the writing. That's Jim's writing. They're joke structured. I said to my cellmate, Blade, he knows what he knows how to structure a joke. So the question, to the extent it's a balancing act between playing it for humor or playing it for humanity, in which a humor is there's a reason that why Steve is able to tell Maria about the prison thing. It's not something I think he thinks about or talks about all the time. He tells, you know, to what extent he's exaggerating it or to what extent he's telling her. That doesn't matter. He's using it to create a relationship with her. I think he, you know, these are basic logics we talked about from the beginning about him, why she chooses Rothenberg font. It's what he does well. The fact that she chooses it starts a relationship already, and plus the fact it keeps her in the shop for a longer period of time. You know, there's, you know, I think the reality that's in the piece leads it to the humor in it. They find, you know, the two characters find moments that are humor. You know, having a live audience there is a great, is a gift, you know, no matter what. In real theater, you need that audience. The audience is a cast member. Every night they're there. And it's a different audience night after night after night. They might not always laugh in the same place, or they wouldn't laugh as much. Some nights, you know, it's different from night to night. But that there's no substitute for that. But, you know, we're just moving beyond that in the Zoom technology. Not beyond it, but. Yeah.
So we've got about 5 minutes left. I'm just going to give a couple questions, and then we're going to go to Michael Kavanaugh, who has his hand up. Sophia, there's a question about eyeline. How did you guys, or you and Curtis, how did you manage eyeline? How did you make sure that you knew where you were looking and to make it so realistic?
I feel like we touched on this a little earlier. Curtis had mentioned with him and sort of following my movement and when I moved, where that shifted his eyeline and his.
How did you rehearse that though?
How do we rehearse it? Same way you'd rehearse blocking. And then, as I had said, for me, it was easier because I was leading the movement. So I just stared at Curtis on my screen and moved, and he figured out the rest. But it's just, it's no different than regular blocking. If someone moves a certain way, you have to move
right
together. And then also there was logic. So Jonathan and Peter, we talked about the logic of the piece, and we talked about the logic of the movement, and theoretically, well, if you go this way, then it goes that way, and that was pretty much how it went. Curtis, do you?
No, I mean, like I said, I knew when she would turn her head that way, I had to at least, because I'm paying attention to her shoulder, so I had to constantly be checking in to see what kind of movement she was doing, which was nice. It gave me something active to constantly stay present with. So I was constantly checking in with her, and it forced me to listen more. And then any movement she did where she'd go like that, I would just check in and look over there. I didn't have to stare, because, I mean, we don't stare at people when they look at you. You just check in and just like, oh, okay. And sometimes I would stay a little bit longer and stick it there. And it was just like something I was having fun with. And it was suggested by the directors, hey, when you look over there, it's a little bit better when she does that. And so it was just something I kept mind of and didn't leave me.
All right, thanks. So there's one technical question. They were asking about the camera switching. So Zoom is a voice activated platform. So whoever's talking, the camera automatically switches to them. However, as the host, I can override that. So I can actually choose, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but I can choose what image we're seeing. So when we saw the font, that was a choice that I made, even though the voice was coming from somewhere else. So did that answer that question? Mitch Levine says, Peter is right about direction. I'd like to say this was a terrific example of a play well explored by the writer, directors, and actors. Terrific imagination, too, of how to use the virtual space, and to see Sophia and Curtis this deeply invested was such a pleasure. Well done, everyone. Yaz says, great, Curtis. Zoom acting is crazy. You guys did an exceptional job. Great, Sophia says, yeah. Sorry, I meant rehearsals. Okay, so I'm going to go to Michael Kavanaugh really quick, and this is probably going to be our last person to talk. I'll read a few more comments, and then we'll say goodbye. So here, Michael Kavanaugh. Michael Kavanaugh, you're on.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. It was wonderful to watch. I really enjoyed it. And I have two questions. One is for Curtis and Sophia. Did you have your scripts on paper or were they on the screen? I couldn't understand what you were doing.
On the screen.
On the screen?
I was scrolling.
Is that a technological thing that you miraculously know how to do?
No, I literally I just moved half of the Zoom screen. So I would just see Curtis and then the other half. So I literally just had Zoom open and I had the preview, where I had the PDF document of the script open.
Oh, so it was a PDF document on the screen. Oh, okay.
Zoom.
What about you, Curtis?
Same thing. I just minimized the Zoom. So all I saw was Sofia. Anytime she talked, she was in this small little corner on my left top of my desktop. And then I would
I've never done that before.
That's how I do it. And that way I can't see myself because I don't want to see myself. And I would just, with my left hand, I was scrolling and reading. And then if like I said, I was just checking to see what she was doing. And then I had my other hand, I was pretending I was working the ink and I kept busy with my hands. It was cool.
The other question is about the editing, which you spoke of momentarily there, Todd.
Yes.
Is it possible actually that you can edit the thing so that sometimes you don't see the person speaking, but you can see reaction and response from the other actor, you know, like it would be in a film?
Sure. So you can act like a switcher. There's limitations to being a switcher, and that is one is it's happening through the internet. So you may not get the exact beat that you're looking for. So if we want to switch to Sofia even though Curtis is speaking on a specific note, you may not get that because the internet is not that accurate. When you're running through, depending, it all is Wi-Fi and depending on signal from your modem. So if someone has a long monologue and you want to switch back and forth between characters, then that's a great idea to do.
And you can do that?
Yes, yes, you can.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, yes.
Again, thanks everybody.
All right, thank you, Michael.
Very much.
Great to hear from you. All right, so I'm just going to read a couple more notes and then we're going to run. I'm going to remind everybody again, next week we have two shorter plays that we're doing, and then we'll do the talk back at the end. Plus there's a tip jar if you go to smartphonetheater.com. Here's a question. Stephanie Hutchinson asks, were any of the rehearsals in person before the lockdown? So
hi, Stephanie.
So no, they weren't. Everybody's familiar with this piece, but for this in particular, there were no other rehearsals.
We hadn't read the piece until we started this.
Yeah, there you go.
The actors being the we.
A week ago.
Chip Keys wants to know why Zoom is telling me my internet connection is unstable. Yeah, that's a technical thing. So I can tell you later. Gosh, how long will it be when we could be in groups again? Hopefully very soon. You both had the same lighting, which made this even better. Yes, the spotlight feature is when you can shift. Devin gave me another recipe, which is thank you very much.
Can I say something, Todd? One more thing?
Sure.
Just so everyone knows, on Zoom, you could switch the background. That's what I was doing earlier. And just so people can see what the deal is, I can switch the background, and I did to this, right?
Yes.
So I used it because I wasn't moving my arms a lot. When we tried to use it in the process and back of the two actors, there was some ghosting and overlap and all that stuff. So we chose to do the backgrounds as they stood, and for me to just have it to establish. Anyway, that's just, I just wanted to let people know about that aspect of Zoom.
Great. Yeah, so the background is called a virtual background. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, but your computer has to be fast enough. It has to have a certain processor in order for that to happen. I won't really get into all the technical aspects of it. There are some questions about lighting. I think for people who want to do future Zooms, make sure that your lighting comes from the front and not from the back. But at the same time, it has to reflect your story as well. So there's a little bit, but if you want to do basics, just make sure it's flattering and it comes from the front. Diffused is better. Chatting with me, call me. I'm happy to talk about it. Let me see. Everybody else wants cookie recipes. There's a lot of still more and more accolades. A lot of attaboys. We're at 5:58. Oh, we're going to end with this. Here we have the author, Mr. Jim Geoghan.
Yay!
Jim.
Hey, Jim.
I'm trying to unmute.
You're mute. You've got your mute button on.
Okay, now.
Can you hear me?
Good.
Jim,
Yeah, hey, Jim.
Hey, what's up? What's up? First thing I notice is the men all need haircuts because no one can go to a barber. Damn, I mean, at least you guys got hair. Most of you do.
It's so
Most
true.
of you. And we don't have a lot of time. Curtis and Sofia, you did a great job. You're perfect casting. Once you get good casting, 85% of it's all done, And I really just sat back and let you own it, and you did. There's not a moment that I went, oh no, that's not how it goes. No, I just enjoyed it because you made it yours. It became yours, and I go through this thing. I haven't met another writer who's ever talked about this. I get depressed when actors do it so well because it means I got to go write something else now because you own it. It's not mine anymore. It works. I don't have to fuck it up anymore. I don't have to rewrite it. Two good actors can take it and do well with it like you did. So I better go write something else. This play is part of 13 plays on Hollywood Boulevard called Hollywood Walk of Fame. And my wife and I have lived above Hollywood Boulevard for 35 years. I figured it's worth some short plays like that. And it was, I've seen this in front of audiences, and Sofia, the spiel about the name of the crazy rock bands he's been in, and it would, God would smile on you and make that a 5-minute thing, and you deserve getting that too. And Curtis just not saying anything. The one thing I love about this play is not saying it because realizing you've just written the wrong word on a woman's body. Trust me. I was laughing my ass off here in my office. You guys did a great job. Jonathan.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
I guess I'll have to buy you lunch again, I guess. Damn. Peter, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you. I've got my headphones on,
okay.
so I can hear you. I can actually hear you. So you don't have to do the sign language thing. Okay.
I'm working on it. I'm going to classes.
All right.
Did Jonathan tell you what the core of this play, real quick?
No, go ahead, Jim.
I was at the Improv in the 70s. Yeah, that's how old I am. I was in a comedy team. And everybody hung out there, the Yankees and drug addicts and crazy guys, and a guy out of Vietnam, he's 6'4" and my size, but holy crap, he was big, and he got the tattoo, Death Before Dishonor. And I said to him something like, I didn't know dishonor had 2 ends in it. And he freaked, and he went into the men's room where there was a mirror to look at it, but it was backwards, and and he was all pissed, and he's coming out all pissed at me. And I said, tough guy, but I'm in the Improv. I said to him, schmuck, you're in the Improv. We tell jokes. It's a fucking joke. If you're too stupid to know a joke, get out of the Improv. And then we became pals like that. But I never forgot it. And I've often wondered. I've often wondered if it's happened. What's in the play. Thank you guys. You did a great job. I really enjoyed watching it.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Much appreciated.
Well, I didn't say thanks to you, pal. Get a haircut.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I hate you guys with hair. Okay. All right,
All right, you guys.
I'll bunk out, okay? Is that what you do?
All right. Take
All
care.
right.
See ya.
Hope to meet you all. I hope to meet the two of you guys. Bye now.
All right.
Bye.
So I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody. And, guys, thanks so much for attending. This is out to our whole audience. We had about 55 people today, which was wonderful.
That's
We had a
great.
really great crowd. So thank you, guys. I'm thrilled.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much. And Sophia and Curtis, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
you.
total pleasure.
Thank
You guys are great.
All right.
You guys are great. Thank you.
All right,
And
thank-
Assad sent in a message and he says, congratulations to everybody and I miss you all. So,
Hi, Assad.
Yeah.
Say, Todd. Thank
Okay.
you, man.
all right. So we're going to call it a night. Everybody have a great dinner. Have a wonderful week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next Friday. Okay.
Sounds good. Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.